Hello, everybody. Welcome to a Monday edition of the Computer America Show. Actually, it's the pre-show here on our live Computer America video streaming page, our Google Hangout stream. And hopefully all of you had a wonderful weekend. Here on our last week of the Computer America Show, we're going to take a couple of weeks off, as we do every year, going into our 24th year on the air. Hopefully you had an enjoyable weekend. And Ben and I are going to be talking to two very interesting guests. In hour two, we're going to be talking about to Zumur, the CEO of the company, about their service that allows consumers to shop. And it will save shoppers time and money in searching for virtually any product available online. It's a very interesting concept. And in the first hour, a little company.
1 minute until showtime.
You may have heard of Microsoft is here. We have two guests from Microsoft talking about Windows Server 2013 end of support and what to do when products such as this reach end of support and the migration process. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We'll be starting momentarily here on Computer America.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America. By national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it's Monday! Oh, that doesn't work, does it?
There's some. No, it worked.
Welcome into a Monday edition of the show. Got a great show planned for you tonight. Of course, this is our last week of live broadcasting for 2014. That's right. We're going to be starting our brand new 2015. We'll be live back on the 6th of January, and with all new programming. We've got some great shows lined up for you. But, you know, we thought we would try to go out with a bang, and so we got some great shows planned for you. For those of you who get our weekly email newsletter, the show reminder, you know who's on and what's scheduled. We're going to have a number of interesting guests, including some of our long-standing correspondents here on the show. Been with us for many, many years, and we always like to do the last week with them when we can. So, and of course, all the normal things that we do here on the show. We'll still have our show reminder winner of the week on Friday, and we'll continue to run our contest over the next 2 weeks as usual. You know, bottom line is, if anything you need to know about Computer America, just go to our homepage at ComputerAmerica.com. And you can see for yourself. No ambiguity. We have everything. Plus, Ben, very, very nice little holiday decorations on the Computer America website. Looks very, very nice.
If you are a Wix user and you have a website, you too could do the exact same thing in it took me about 2 minutes. So.
Just stretched it out, so it took them hours to do that, just getting it positioned exactly right.
Yeah. hung the clip art from the website with care.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Okay, well, let's get started because we do have a lot to talk about tonight. Now, you know, it's just part of the human condition to resist change. Really, I mean that. And when it comes to upgrading software, you know, some would rather avoid it completely than to do it at all. I mean, there are so many reasons. Now, unlike myself and Ben, who are cutting edge, bleeding edge, I mean, Ben, when there's an update, Ben puts it on immediately, right? Yeah, exactly. You know, But that's not necessarily the best thing, too. You know, there's a right way to do things, and our guests here tonight are going to tell you why you need to do it and when you need to do it. Microsoft is here to discuss migration from the older to the newer and answer your questions about it. We're going to be talking about upgrading from Windows Server 3000 to Windows Server 2012 Revision 2, upgrading to Office 365, Microsoft Azure, and maybe a little bit more about any older version of Microsoft software when it becomes available. All right, we really need to do that. Now, joining us, as I said, is not one but two guests from Microsoft. First of all, let me introduce Jordan Chrysophides. He's the Vice President of Microsoft U.S. OEM Sales and Marketing, originally from Canada. Hey, Jordan, how are you?
Great, Craig. Great to be here.
Hi. And Scott Woodgate is also here. He's the Director of Product Marketing, Integrated Marketing for Microsoft. And I understand you're from New Zealand. Scott, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having us, Craig and Ben.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, welcome into Computer America. So, here we are. And let me just start off by saying that Microsoft eventually ends support for different versions of their software. I mean, this is just the fact of life. Things get newer, things get upgraded, change. Why do you think people resist change? Especially when it comes to software. I guess they get comfortable with it and they just don't want to. They don't want to change anything. It's working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Is that the mentality going on there?
Well, I'll start, and I'm sure Scott's got a perspective as well. One of the great things about software is that it doesn't wear out. It's not a physical piece of hardware.
Yeah.
And when Windows Server 2003 first came out, it was a fantastic product. It was cutting edge in its time, and it was really designed to serve the needs of business 11 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And when you've got something that has been working, certainly, people are resistant to that. But, in the same way that cars with airbags are safer today than, older vehicles that didn't have them, technology advances and, our knowledge of the threats that exist out in cyberspace also gets better. And we just have better products today. And certainly there's good reason to take advantage of it. But that resistance comes from the quality of the software that was originally introduced.
Scott, would you agree?
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. I also think some of this is discovering what you have. A server, it doesn't necessarily sit on your desktop every day. It's not like a PC that you look at. You have, a copy of Windows 7 or a copy of Windows 8. You use it every day. Many companies are running server operating systems in data centers, closets, and it's harder for them to discover what they have. And so the notion of upgrading my servers, the first thing I have to do is actually go and look and see what do I have and discover what I have. So maybe that I'm completely fine with doing the process, but I'm just not aware that I even have a Windows Server 2003. So that discovering step's important.
So let me ask you this, and I'll throw the question out to both of you. Why is Microsoft ending support for Windows Server 2003? Is it just the equipment is getting so new? Because obviously 2003 doesn't get old. I mean, what are some of the reasons why Microsoft is ending support for this product?
Well, I think that's a great question, Craig. There's a couple of things. Certainly retiring software is part of the normal product life cycle. Certainly since the very early 2000s, we've had a published retirement schedule, not just for Server 2003, but for all our software. And the reason for that is over time, there's both advancements in the applications and ultimately what server horsepower you need to run that, but then also even the computing methodologies. And certainly back in 2003, we weren't thinking about things like server sprawl or virtualization or even how our customers might be able to use the cloud to run their business. Mm-hmm. And part of retiring your existing software is really kind of thinking about how you can utilize the newer technologies to either gain competitive advantage or maybe run your business more efficiently. it really is part of the process of that constant refresh. And so, you know, for us, it's something that we try and work very, very closely with our customers on, and certainly many of our partners as well have very robust consulting practices to help people get through that migration and ultimately take advantage of the new computing technologies that are out there.
Right. Now, if any of you out there have a question for our guest tonight, you can give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and get you through. Email is live, L-I-V-E, @ computeramerica.com. You can also join us in our live interactive chat room from our homepage at computeramerica.com. Just click the chat room button and live video. It'll take you to that page. On the left-hand side, you'll see your chat room. Just put in a nickname. That's the name you'll be known by. When you go in there, put in the captcha code, which is usually a number, a couple of words, connect, and you're in. It's just that simple. And you can also watch us on our live Computer America video streaming page. We also offer those selections there as well. So okay. So basically, what does end of support for Windows 2003 entail? Gentlemen, either one.
Yeah, why don't I grab that one? So we have this life cycle that we publish at the birth of the product, actually, that says that in 10 years' time the product will expire effectively. Mm-hmm. And it goes through a couple of phases. First, it is in what we call mainstream support, where we add features as well as do security fixes. And then it goes into extended support. The Windows Server 2003 product actually went into extended support in 2010. And then the final step in the product life cycle is the end of support. That happens on July 14th this year. Mm-hmm. End of support's an important milestone because it means we'll no longer provide security patches to customers. And so it's very important that we work with customers to help them to move away from products that we would no longer provide support from a security perspective on, because obviously increases their risk of doing business.
So you said July of 2014 is when that happened?
Sorry, it's July of 2015.
I thought so. Okay, because we're still in 2014. You said this year. Okay, so
yeah, it's July 14th of 2015 is the date, Bastille Day.
Okay, all right. So they still have a little time, but really, I mean, if they waited this long, or have they waited too long? Are they waited too long? Is it? I mean, how urgent is this? Is this to get them to get upgraded?
I think it's urgent in the sense that if customers have Windows Server 2003 now, depending on how many they have, it could take them that full length of time to get the migration moving. And so the first step's really being aware and discovering, as I said earlier, how many Windows Server 2003s you have and what they're doing within your business, and then creating a plan to eliminate them effectively by July of next year. So yeah, this is a very urgent urgent situation, and it's actually been highlighted by Homeland Security in a recent Homeland Security note as customers really need to pay attention to this and address it.
Well, how many instances of Windows Server 2003 are we talking about here in the world?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, it's hard to have exact numbers because not all the servers are connected to the internet, and so there's not an precise number. Our estimates in the U.S. Is that there's roughly 8 million instances, and there's certainly many millions more in the rest of the world. So, you know, there's no question that you know, there's a lot of folks that have a significant amount of work yet to get done over the course of the next 7 months or so.
Right. Well, okay. So end of support for this product means exactly what? In other words, it'll still run. It's not there's not a switch that you're turning and all of a sudden Windows Server 2003 is going to work anymore, right? I mean, it's just end of any support for the product. Is that what you mean?
You're right, Craig. This is not like Y2K where you wake up on July 15th and worry about whether your system's still working. And the system will still continue to work. However, as we know, all software has vulnerabilities in it. And when we stop patching those vulnerabilities, then you are taking on considerable risk in continuing to run that old software. As you probably know, that's a challenge.
Well, what kind of risk are you looking at if the customer continues to run an unsupported product like this?
I think there's a couple of risks. There's one. Certainly recently, we ended support for Windows XP as well, and similarly, Windows XP would continue to run as well. I think there's a fundamental difference though with Server 2003, and that is there are certain certifications both for HIPAA compliance as well as around credit card transactions, which actually expire on that day. And so if you rely on your server to conduct business in either one of those industries, you could effectively be out of business. And so certainly, the server may continue to work, but you've got the security vulnerabilities. And then lastly, and quite practically, any hardware that's that old, you're really kind of playing with fire. It's something that's 10 years old could kind of go at any time, and trying to find 32-bit hardware to replace it could be kind of difficult. So there's a number of things that really do stack up that I think the risk level is potentially more significant than what you would have seen with XP.
Mm-hmm. I won't tell you the lament that we hear on the show when XP the support expired for that. I love XP. It's such a solid product. It works, and I don't want to update to Windows Vista or 7 or 8 or it's like we hear it all the time. And
yeah, you sound like 30% of our callers. It's crazy.
Exactly. So but it's just a fact.
Your product is too good. You make too good a product. Stop it.
Now we're talking about Windows Server 2003. Does end of support apply to Windows Small Business Server 2003? Is there a difference with that product?
Yeah, good question. So Windows Small Business Server actually was discontinued in April of this year.
Wow.
April 2014, when the Exchange component of that went out of support. The recommended path forward for customers is actually Windows Server Essentials 2012 Release 2. Mm-hmm. So if there's anyone out there still using Small Business Server 2003, now's a great time to move to Windows Server Essentials 2012 Release 2.
Now, what kind of costs are people looking at to upgrade the servers? Let's say they're at 2003, and now they have the latest version is what the Windows Server 2012 R2. Is that the latest version? Am I correct in that?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So what kind of costs are they? I mean, the longer they wait, does the cost increase? I mean, because I know there were a couple of versions in between them, so
Yeah, so maybe I can jump in and Jordan will follow. But
sure.
From a cost perspective, the cost depends on how many of these servers you have and what you're running on those servers. So, for example, if you're running email on Windows Server 2003. Mm-hmm. There's several options, but an easy option, if you've waited this long, is to go use Office 365 in the cloud. Uh-huh. And so you won't spend a lot of money on migration, and you won't spend a lot of money on hardware. Obviously, you'll migrate your user accounts over. And you'll have an ongoing cost. So that's a relatively simple solution.
Let me ask you this. Let me interrupt you. I mean, let me kind of jump in and say, so maybe it paid to wait because Office 365 wasn't around about 2 years ago, and it's a relatively new product. And so by waiting, and then this new product came out and said, hey, it's going to be less painful if I go to 365. I'm not saying hindsight's 20/20, but should they pat themselves on the back for doing that?
I guess I'd say you always want to look at the options that are available in the market at the time, and this cloud option, when deployment's hard, this cloud option takes the pain out of deployment and makes it easier. So yeah, I do think this is a choice that may have not been viable a couple of years ago. Yeah. That if you are not interested in managing servers for email anymore, is a really attractive choice.
But let's face it. I mean, that's just luck. That they happen to fall into that. But generally speaking, it's smart to kind of keep current. Obviously, now, I mean, should they go? Obviously, they're waiting to the end. Would it be less painful if they had migrated, to the next version and to Windows Server 2008, and keep going on rather than waiting till at this end of life of this product? I mean, would it have been less painful?
Yeah, I guess there's a couple of ways of answering that. One is on the pain side, but the other's on the innovation side.
Uh-huh.
And maybe I'll just spend a minute there. If you think about the average server in 2003, we were talking about hundreds of megahertz. You know, we had a clock speed of 200 or 400 or 900 megahertz.
Uh-huh.
My cell phone has that speed today. It had memory of a gigabyte. My cell phone has the same. And so what you could do with a server in 2003 was pretty limited. What's more, most of the usage of it was for people who were within business, sitting in buildings connected with wired connections. You know, wireless was still very much growing, and
Sure.
and I certainly didn't do my business work while I was on Hawaii and in holiday. And so by staying current, if you like, customers have the opportunity to build new innovation and take advantage of that with their apps. And so, for instance, the customer who had moved earlier may already be providing mobile apps to their end users that enable their end users to be productive wherever they are. So there's a significant innovation advantage on staying current in our software and taking advantage of the technology that is put in it as you move further forward. It is also generally less painful to migrate step by step by step, rather than to wait for 10 years, and at which point you really need to, at some level, start again from a technology stack perspective.
The thing I will add, though, and the recommendation I would make is that if our customers are potentially looking at this as just an opportunity to upgrade their server and really not change anything else in their business, it is a missed opportunity, because there are so many newer technologies that have come through since the advent of 2003. Be it VoIP or be it cloud computing. Could be Azure, could be Lync, could be Office 365. There's so many ways to be able to take cost out of your business, enhance security, as well as provide additional value to your customers, either by conducting business with them in a mobile fashion, or through your own employees in a remote or mobile computing fashion. I mean, there is just a whole host of additional services that are available that in many cases will actually cost less year on year. I mean, just to tie off on that cost question, certainly a lot of customers potentially who are running 2003 may have some instances of virtual servers in their organization, and they might be paying for VMware. In addition to their Windows Server investment that they made. When you move to Windows Server 2012, you wouldn't have to make that VMware investment, and so in some cases your cost can actually go down. Now, without question, there's going to be costs around migrating the applications and the data, and so that I'm not saying that that's not going to occur, but there is such enhanced functionality within it that it's very, very important to look at, as Scott said, piece by piece, and really do the evaluation to get the true assessment of what it's going to cost, because you, in fact, could end up saving money in the long run while you're improving your compliance and security, et cetera, in your organization.
So, Jordan, what you're saying is that, I mean, you're basically saying there are a lot of benefits to migrating. You've named a couple of them, but also, in addition to the technological benefits, there are cost benefits to upgrading sooner than waiting. Correct?
There absolutely can be.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, you two should really go on tour from business to business and speak to people like this, because I've been in a couple, and I mean, them upgrading their servers and really upgrading pretty much any of their hardware. I mean, if they aren't a technology business by trade, but they still need computers to run efficiently, I mean, they drag their heels, they kick and they scream, and they don't want to do anything on the software or hardware side until someone forces them to. And I guess, stopping support for your 2003 server, stopping support for the program is one of the few things that gets, small businesses to say, all right, let's finally do it. I'm going to be mad about it that I have to do this, but 10 years, I guess, like, I think everyone should really, kind of have everything you two just memorized, when they go to approach someone, whoever they need to talk to upgrade their servers, that maybe every 2 years is better than every, 10 years. And it would be beneficial cost-wise and software-wise.
Yeah, and Ben is speaking from first-hand experience, Jordan and Scott. I mean, he worked for a chemical pharmaceutical company, and you would think that they would try to have the latest, but
those Windows ME computers sure do run slow.
Yeah, and I see it too. I mean, I've worked over in radio broadcast networks and stations, and they seem to have the oldest stuff running, and they're trying to keep up with all these new things that they have. It just seems to be a part of the human condition. People don't like to upgrade, and regardless. They figure, oh, it's working, and they don't realize necessarily they say, oh, it's working fine. Well, no, maybe it isn't working fine. Maybe you think it is, but think of all the things that you could be doing that you aren't doing because you have the older server, the older software. Would you agree with that, Scott, Jordan?
Yeah, I think that's totally right. I think there's always the opportunity to look at what you implemented in 2003 when, Finding Nemo was a new movie and think about what you could do now in 2014 that's very, very different and add value to the business. And certainly if you're an IT guy, anytime you can go in there and introduce new business innovation where it's less about I'm upgrading the servers, and it's more about, hey, Mr. and Mrs. CIO or CEO, I'm enabling you to work from your cell phones while you're remotely connected, and also have our sellers do that.
Well,
then you're going to have a much more powerful conversation.
And I think that's probably the key. What you just said there. I think that if you list out, how would you like to, do this, or how, now if you can do it from your cell phone, you can do this. And they'll say, "Oh, that's great." Well, now we need to do some upgrades. And not just say, "Oh, hey, our software is getting old," because no one likes to hear that they are getting old or their software is getting old. They don't want to hear it. But if you can tell them all the great things that you can now introduce, or here's some new services that we can do, and they say, "Yeah, sure, go for it." That'd probably be the smarter way to approach it from the IT point of view.
Absolutely. I mean, in my role, I have the good fortune of being able to spend time with the top CIOs in the U.S. And from around the world, quite frankly. And the ones who run really efficient businesses have an ongoing plan of always relooking at where they can take cost out of their business at the same time as they add functionality. Yeah. And so in some cases, they might spend a little bit more on IT, but their cost of acquiring or retaining a customer may go down. And so they're constantly looking and reevaluating, the investments that they've made. And it doesn't necessarily need to be, a wholesale review, but the point that Scott made earlier around Exchange and really maintaining email servers, many of them have come back to us and said, that's not a competitive advantage to me. I'd rather take my very finite and important resources and think about how I'm more competitive in the marketplace, or how I might be able to serve my customers better and have happier customers. And so they outsource that portion to either to Microsoft or one of our hosting partners that ultimately run their email systems for them. And that's sort of what I was trying to get to when I was saying, as folks look at their 2003 implementations, really take a moment to think about where are they really benefiting from the workloads that they're running in their organization. Is email really giving them a competitive advantage? Or is that something that would be really great in a hosted scenario where you're paying for a service versus where you want to spend your time? And you may not want to spend any time on that at all. You may choose to spend the time with your customers and with your partners, and that's okay too. But it's really a unique point in time to be able to do that evaluation and really look at where am I getting advantage from my IT investment, and if it makes sense to retain it locally and you're driving an advantage in one way or another, then great, go ahead, keep doing that. But it's also an opportunity to take advantage of services like Office 365, Azure, or even one of our hosting partners as an alternative.
You see, here's a perfect example. Jack in our chat room, I think this kind of sums it up in this one sentence. He says, I hate upgrading software because it takes weeks to get it to look like it used to. You know, well, maybe you don't want it to. Maybe getting it to look like it used to is not the right thing. I mean, I'm not saying, oh, here's a whole new complete environment. I mean, do these upgrades really change much of what their users of these server products look like, or is it pretty much transparent?
Yeah, and it somewhat depends on what the server's running.
Yeah.
In many cases, customers using servers don't actually use the server in terms of seeing the desktop and what's on the desktop.
Right.
They see a web browser experience through the web, or they see that they can share files or share printers. So in many cases, the server upgrade is less about the end user experience changing because of the server. Right. And more about what can the application do differently now because they have the latest version of the application. Right. So it's quite different than a desktop.
Right. Or I think by upgrading a browser, it'll probably be more visual change than the server product itself. As you said, you're right, because the server is really pretty much running in the background. It just gives you additional things that you can do or additional functionality. Listen, we're coming to the bottom of the hour, gentlemen, Scott and Jordan. I want to, when we come back, let's talk a little bit about how should small and medium businesses think about Windows Server 2003 migration, let's say, versus a large enterprise. Okay, let's kind of discuss that when we come back. Okay, we're gonna take a little break. This is the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. Ben and I are talking to Jordan Chrysophides with Microsoft, and Scott Woodgate, also with Microsoft. We're talking about Windows Server 2003, its end of support, and what you need to get yourself up to the latest version, 2012 R2. We'll also talk about Office 365. We'll continue on with them. This is the Computer America Show. We will be right back. A news tip bulletin review from Marty Winston. That's coming up.
Hey, everyone. Have you heard about the No hair removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No hair removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented Thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Oh, there you are. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America, and this time, the DeGauss Dual Driver Hi-Fi earphones. DeGauss Labs has a lot of nerve labeling their dual driver earphones for Android as Hi-Fi, so it's a really good thing that these are the very best sounding in-ear instruments we can ever remember hearing. We tend to be perfectionists when it comes to acoustic transparency, which is to say that hearing it in playback should be exactly like what we would expect to hear if we were in the room as a recording is being made. Others of the in-ear ilk we've thought better than most tended to do their best work at mid-range tones and up, as we and acoustic physics might expect from a transducer small enough to fit in an ear. But some louse at the Gauss is confusing the heck out of us with the kind of performance that reproduces the leftmost keys on the piano, the sounds of the bass, and the thump of the bass drum as if we were listening to room-size monitoring gear. Bottom line, the Gauss dual driver Wi-Fi earphones for Android make fidelity come true to an extent no alternative we've ever heard can do. Bravo! This is Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Thank you, Marty Winston, for that. That was quite the glowing review.
Did he say the louse at the Gauss?
I think he did. No, that was that's quite the endorsement for those headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, welcome back to the Computer America Show. It's 33 minutes past the hour, and we are talking to Jordan Christophides and Scott Woodgate from Microsoft, and more about their Windows Server 2003 and how it's kind of being put out to pasture, and how you should probably think about upgrading. And right before the break, Craig kind of posed this question to the both of you. How should small and medium businesses think about Windows Server 2003 migration as compared to, say, a much larger enterprise? Like I would guess implementing between the two would take different handling.
Gentlemen? Scott, Jordan, which one would you want to take that?
Yeah, I got it. I'll jump
okay.
on. Sorry, guys. So yeah, absolutely right. Small, medium businesses act differently than larger businesses. They have less IT guys, and they tend to have a lower number of servers. So the good news is you may not have hundreds or thousands of Windows Server 2003s, and so if you start now, then you can certainly get to the deadline of July 15th. In terms of things that I would do differently in small, medium business versus in enterprises, there's a couple of things. One is looking at the servers that I have and check that they're all virtualized. In enterprises, 70% of servers are virtualized. In small, medium businesses, certainly servers this age, many of them might not be. So this is a great opportunity for small, medium businesses to look and say, hey, I had 3 servers, the physical hardware boxes that were running some workloads, and now I can make them one. I can consolidate, and that'll save me money. So that's a real good opportunity that some small and medium businesses won't have done with the older software they can do, and that virtualization's all built into Windows itself. The second one I mentioned earlier, which is if you are doing email, now's a great, as a server, now's a great opportunity to move out of doing that business if you wish. You can keep doing it, but if you want to move out of that business, we can host the email for you on Office 365. And then the third one I would say is, backup is always an important issue for our customers. Making sure that your servers are backed up is not something that every small, medium business can afford or, frankly, manage the complexity of. And so as small, medium businesses are moving to the next versions of Windows Server, there's some great cloud features that work in conjunction with the next versions of Windows Server through a feature called Azure Backup that enable you to back up your new server up in the cloud. And so if you have a power outage or a motherboard failure, then you don't lose anything. It's all up in Azure, and you can put it back onto your Windows Server. So there's a few things there in terms of virtualization, email with Office 365, and Azure Backup. And I know Jordan had some things to add on partners.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I mean, I think all that's right on the money, Scott. I would just really encourage a smaller, medium business to also engage the partner that they've come to trust. Many of them have been working and working with other companies doing this exact migration. I know that Dell, HP, and Lenovo All three of them all have great migration, both offers as well as consulting services available for partners or for customers as well. So there's a lot of great resources that are out there, and I think that really sort of starting out doing the assessment of what you've got in your own environment. We've got some great tools at Microsoft.com. If you go to Microsoft.com/WS, as in Windows Server 2003 EOS, end of service, so WS 2003 EOS, you can actually get a great step-by-step guide for doing the evaluation of what you've got in your own environment, as well as then engaging with on how to engage with partners to actually take care of that migration in your environment. So lots of great resources that are out there, and as well, HP, Dell, and Lenovo all have resources on their websites as well.
Excellent. So this working with partners, these are people as part of the process. Is Microsoft working with these partners as part of the process in any way?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have tools that actually really tie in quite nicely to some of the third-party products. So we have something called the Microsoft Assessment and Planning Toolkit. You can go up to Bing or your favorite search engine, search for that, bring it up. It really ties into some great tools from Avanade, Citrix. I know, as I mentioned, Dell and HP. I think even AppZero has some great tools that tie into that as well. So certainly this has been an industry-wide effort. Certainly we want to make sure that we've got great tools that are available, but absolutely the entire partner channel has been working on this, particularly in enterprise now, for certainly the last 5 years or so. Okay.
Well, that's good to know that they're not completely left out in the lurch. Then they have some support. And Microsoft is helping in this process with them. I mean, in other words, when Microsoft is working with these partners, I mean, what is Microsoft specifically doing to help? I guess is what I'm asking.
Sure, and maybe I can jump on that. Obviously, if you're a partner in this space, you see this as a business opportunity to help our customers move forward to the latest infrastructure. And so, frankly, there's some systems integration partners that build their whole business around migration. And so we want to make sure that the partners that we work with across OEMs as well as system integrators are delivering great hardware to our customers for future versions. And then we give them the right guidance to enable them to take the customer from where they are today with their Windows Server workload to the right next option, whether that option is on the next version of Windows Server, in a hosted environment, or in the customer's premises, or in the cloud. And so we spend a lot of time with our partners on making sure they have the right technical information so that they can deliver migration with the lowest risk to our customers. So it's a great option if your core competency isn't software, and certainly in lots of small medium businesses that isn't the case. You really want to rely on a partner who's been trained and understands how to take you from what was Windows Server 2003 by whatever workload you have to the latest version.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about Office 365 because, I mean, customers, there are so many businesses out there that are still using Office, Microsoft Office. What's the latest? The current version was 2012, 2013, before it went to 365. And this move over to the cloud with Office 365, you're always assured that you're going to have the latest version. You don't have to go through the pain of upgrading because when you're using it on the cloud, you're always going to be using the latest version from Microsoft. It's certainly cost effective. I know for individual users, they get, 5 licenses? They can use them on 5 different computers in the home. I mean, these are all great reasons why that I know of upgrading to Office 365. What can you add to that, gentlemen?
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Obviously, Office 365, just to be clear, comes with both the rich client, the desktop applications you know and love. It has all of the features of Office 2013. It has Word, it has PowerPoint, it has all of those things. But then from a file saving perspective, you can save your documents in OneDrive and have those on the cloud, which means that if your PC crashes, then you have all your documents stored on the cloud, which is just great. And then similarly, from a server perspective, you can take advantage of Office 365's email so that you don't have to implement a server on your premises in your buildings. We do that for you. You simply provision mailboxes of users and get going. So you can really get it up and going fast, and you certainly don't need to know how to understand how to deliver server software to implement it. So Office 365 gives you the best of both worlds, where you get to take advantage of Word and PowerPoint and all those things that you're used to using, and then in a cloud environment for email or even with SharePoint for collaboration. And it's particularly great for businesses of all sizes, but particularly for smaller businesses who couldn't necessarily afford to go through the complexity of setting up all the server hardware and the redundancy associated with networking that's required to set up a solution that's fault tolerant. All that's taken care of in the cloud from us, and you just can get on with using the software and doing your business.
Right. Now again, I'm throwing these questions out to both of you gentlemen because I'm not sure where your particular area of expertise is. So whichever one of you want to pick it up, that's fine. Does Office 365 require you to use Windows Server 2012 R2? I mean, is that something? I mean, what was the earliest version of Windows Server that in order to take advantage of Office 365?
Yeah, so I'll get that. It's two very separate things.
Right.
So Office 365 in the back end uses the cloud.
Okay.
And so from a customer perspective, servers don't matter.
Aha. Okay.
You'll use your desktop operating system, and you'll use our cloud.
Okay.
And so, in fact, in the weekend, I was installing it on a new PC, and I went in a web browser to my Office 365 subscription. I pressed the install button from the web browser, and the Office 365 bits magically started downloading. And even before it was finished downloading, I could use it with this click-to-run technology we have.
Wow.
And I was up and going.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
nice.
the advantage of Office 365 is I don't have a server in that equation that I have to work with myself.
Okay. Okay. So what is this?
I think you said it really well there, Scott. I mean, that is the whole point of what we're trying to offer with 365 is to take out the complexity of the server back end to allow people to focus on their business and getting their job done on a day-to-day basis, as opposed to I'm setting up a SharePoint server or setting up Exchange, and that is really the primary benefit.
And that makes perfect sense. So in other words, you can be using Office 365 in your small business or even medium business or even enterprise for that matter, and not have to worry about some sort of back-end server that kind of managing that. Microsoft does all that for you with Office 365. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yes, that's correct.
Absolutely.
And I would say larger businesses use Active Directory, which may be on premises still or could also be in the cloud. But for the larger businesses, typically they sync the Office 365 with Active Directory so that the same user that I log into in my corporate network is the user in Office 365. But for small businesses, you can just use it all in the cloud and go.
Is this some sort of harbinger of things to come that we're going to rely less and less on servers and more on application suites from Microsoft to do the job of servers where we don't need them anymore? I mean, is that on the horizon or not?
Well, let me start on that one, Scott, and then you can jump in. I mean, the servers are still there. They just happen to be managed in a larger data center, and the benefit to the end user on that is that you have a dedicated team of IT professionals that are managing these servers 24/7 with redundancy and the latest security around the world. And a lot of what we're talking about today is about upgrading an 11-year-old server. That's something that you would never have to worry about. So it's not that the servers don't exist. They exist. It's just they're managed by Microsoft in this case, but we also have hosting partners that do that as well. And so it's a way to get the great advantages of the technology, but have you not have to focus on the complexity of it. So there is economics in it that do make sense, though, that help reduce the overall cost, because you can manage a larger bank of servers, because you can run that more efficiently. It ultimately lowers the cost, and that's why services such as 365 can provide such a great level of service and still save you money on a month-to-month basis.
So let me ask the question again then. So again, down the road a piece. Obviously, you're having great success with Office 365, and myself as the small and medium business or even the large one don't have to worry about the servers because, as you say, it's being managed by Microsoft and their IT professionals and the redundancy, everything that you said. So can we expect more things like that with other products from Microsoft, where you don't have to rely on my company managing a server, like our the 2012 R2? Is that going to eventually go away, or will those still always be there?
Yeah, so maybe I can get that. I do think that customers find it attractive to have us do the work of deploying the servers and make software available as a service. Mm-hmm. And so certainly from us and from other vendors, software as a service, whether it be our CRM or our Office, or even our Xbox actually, is absolutely interesting and growing space. So I think that is absolutely an interesting growing space. At the same time, customers run many different things on Windows Server. They run their own workloads, and some of them are moving to building those in the cloud themselves, and some of them are putting them on premises on Windows Server. And the beauty is the customer has choice. Yeah. And so we see from many of our enterprise customers, they look at the systems that they differentiate their businesses on, and a number of those are on premises still. And they look at the systems they don't differentiate their businesses on, and they go put those in the cloud. And it really depends on where the customer is in terms of making this migration to cloud and taking risk. However, I suspect a large number of Windows Server 2003 customers will migrate to the next version of Windows Server. And some of those customers, for some workloads, email being the most obvious one, will go in and use the cloud. So it's really all about choice.
Sure, and that's the win-win situation. You want to always give customers a choice. Don't say, hey, you have to do it this way. Give them a choice, and that's a good lesson to learn. Let me ask you this, as we're getting closer to the end of the hour, and things are going extremely well. When will support for Windows Server 2008 take place?
Good question. So the time horizon is 10 years on, which means that extended support, I must admit I don't have the exact date, but I think it's January in 2015. Okay. Sorry, it goes into extended support on January 2015, and then it will end of support in 2020. And so there's the same event that is happening now for Server 2003 is happening in 2020 for Server 2008. And actually a better question, if I can give you one back, is SQL 2005. So for customers that are running SQL 2005, which is a good number of customers, the end of support is actually April 2016. And so for many customers, if you're running SQL 2005 and also Windows Server 2003, now's a great time to look at both of those, because April 2016 is really not that far away.
Gentlemen, why do I get this impression that you're all in this office with a really huge dartboard with years on them, and you're tossing? Let me ask you, how does Microsoft actually determine when a product will be discontinued, as opposed to the dartboard theory?
Sure, yeah. No, contrary to public opinion, I don't think we throw darts. The specific months are literally locked from when the first day we shipped is. So, for example, for SQL, we shipped that somewhere, I'm guessing, in April. And so the end of support timeframe is in April, whereas in Windows Server 2003, we did that in July, so the support time is in July. And it's generally plus 10 years from when we created the software that it ends of life. it does end up being, you do need to go look at the list of software on our product lifecycle page. It's published in advance to know exactly when dates are. Because as I say, some people in Microsoft remember the day that when we ship software, because we often have parties, but most of our customers don't remember that.
And no dartboards are included in that one, right? Those parties, okay.
No, there's no dartboards.
No dartboards.
No dartboards. Okay, that's good. Let me just ask also. You mentioned partners a little bit earlier, and what partners are doing to help people make these moves. Let me ask you, what do you say? What do you think partners should be doing to prepare for the migration and help customers?
Well, I think it really starts with the awareness. As we sort of talked about, right now where we believe the majority of the 2003 really sits is with small and medium businesses. And certainly if a small medium business hasn't had a reason to pick up the phone and talk to one of their partners lately, they may not even be aware that this is the case. And so, first and foremost, having that conversation as a partner with your customer, and then really setting up a diligent process to do the assessment of what applications they have, and then set up an actual map of what needs to be migrated in terms of both applications as well as data, either to the cloud or to something on-premise, and really then setting up that diligent process. Not everything is necessarily needs to be migrated on-premise, and in some cases you may choose to replace applications wholesale at the same time. Mm-hmm. But taking the customers through that very, very detailed analysis, as Scott talked about earlier, really discovering what you've got running in your organization. I know that depending on the workload, file and print versus applications versus data storage will have a different migration plan.
Sure.
And laying that out with the customer in a very, very detailed way and get it done in a methodical fashion. Right. I know, Scott, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add on that.
No, I think that's right, and I think there's a large number of trained partners in your area who are able to help you with that, and I'd really encourage you to reach out to them. Any infrastructure partner that you've worked with on the Microsoft platform, particularly systems integrator, sure. And certainly, as Jordan already mentioned, Dell, HP, Lenovo have focused efforts and focused resources to help customers.
Right. Now, for those listening, if you want more information, just go to our show notes page at computeramerica.com. It's right there on our homepage. The show notes. Click it. You'll see today's date. Show, the December the 15th, 2014. We have the link to Microsoft's website there, and you can see the gentleman that we spoke to, Jordan Chrysophides and Scott Woodgate, both of them, here on tonight's show. And if you missed any portion of the program, you can also go to our archives page. It's right there at the top of any of our pages at computeramerica.com. You can listen to the show again if you want to. You can listen to it on we have links to Blog Talk Radio. We archive our show on Apple's iTunes. We have the link directly to where you need to go there. And you can even watch the show. You can go to our video archives. It's all on our archives page at computeramerica.com. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. It's a very enlightening hour, and thanks for talking to us about all of this and answering our questions. And thank you so much for being with us here tonight on Computer America.
Oh, thanks for having us, Craig.
Thanks.
Yeah,
great to be here.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, Scott. Thanks again, and you have a happy holidays and happy New Year to both of you. Okay.
Cheers.
Thank you. All the best.
All right. Take care. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, there you go. All right, so there it is. So again, Microsoft and
Microsoft and Microsoft.
Microsoft and Microsoft. That's right, exactly.
I feel like at the beginning of that hour we should have, said explicitly, "All right, Scott, you're going first, and then Jordan, you're going to go second."
I like throwing it out to both of them.
No. I mean, they can both answer. It's just we should have set up like a priority. It's like first one and then the other.
Well, sometimes free for all is good too, but it's fine. Hey, listen, when you host a show, you can do it your way.
I think I will.
Okay.
A little bit of forethought goes a long way.
It is, exactly. All right, coming up in hour 2, we're going to have Zumur on the show. We have the company's CEO standing by in the wings. Abhishek Tiwari is the CEO of Zumur, and we're going to be talking about how both buyers and sellers can keep more money in their pocket Sounds a little counterintuitive, but that's what Zoomer does for you when you use their service, and we'll be talking about to him in our tip. What did you think of the news tips review, the first one? I thought it was very good. Marty does a good job.
I mean, like they're not just oh yeah, we really like this product. It was so-so. It tested better than the others that we tested. Marty Winston has a pretty good way of outlining what he liked, how why does he like it, and if you should get it or not. He's very succinct in that way.
Yes, he is, and he does a very good job. Well, coming, as I said, now just let me mention to you that this is the last week of the show, and for 2014, for those of you who got a show reminder will know, we still have Intel's going to be on the show this week, Dick DiBartolo, we have our All Linux show. It's interesting, our All Linux show this coming Thursday, we have Larry Bushy, but we're also going to be introducing Marcel Gagne. And for those you longtime listeners of Computer America will remember Marcel Gagne. He was our Linux expert before Larry Bushy. Larry's been with us for 7 years, and he's going to be passing the Linux baton over to Marcel. Marcel will make an appearance on the December show on this coming Thursday, and it should be a lot of fun. And of course, all of our contests, while we're on hiatus, will still be active. At least the Logitech contest will be up and running. So get your entry in. Just go to our contest page at computeramerica.com, and it's right there on the page. You see the 3 great prizes we're giving away, and of course the entry form is right there on the Logitech page itself, right there on a Logitech contest. We've got the HD webcam C310, valued at $50. The second place prize is $60. The Logitech G400S optical gaming mouse, and the grand prize, the Logitech X300 mobile wireless stereo speaker, valued at $70. You get to pick the color too. And so that's all up and running. We'll, of course, we're going to be back in January, on the 6th of January. And
then in February, we will be celebrating our 24th year on the air.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. All right. All right, you're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. Zoomer is going to be joining us in the next hour, and we'll see what makes it Zoom. This is the Computer America Show. We're going to be back just a moment. Stay with us.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Grossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
Yeah, and wow, gas is now less than $2 a gallon in 13 states? Wow.
Yeah, it's going to go lower.
Wow, wow. Lower than $2.
I know. I never thought I'd see the day again.
You never saw the day. You don't remember when gas was 25.
What are you talking about? When I was like 6 or 7, prices of gas were under $1.
You remember that?
Yeah.
You remember gas being under $1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many years ago?
And then I remembered after I think it was 9/11, and like gas prices went over $2, and everyone freaked out. They're like, "Oh my God, the economy's going to crash." And then yeah.
Well, I guess I'm dating myself, but I remember when gas was 25 cents a gallon. 25, and even then, I remember my dad complaining that it was so expensive. A quarter a gallon.
I know, a quarter a gallon. Do you know what you could get with a quarter back then? Like 3 hamburgers, a steak, and some candy. It's crazy.
A steak. I don't know what kind of steak you get for a quarter, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, $2 a gallon. The dollar went further back in there, but that was not that far. I mean, but 25 cents a gallon. I remember that. And then I remember it shooting up to 35 cents a gallon, and everybody had a heart attack. Yeah, 30 cents a gallon for gasoline.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people are having whatever the reverse of a heart attack is, going from, it was hovering around like 370, 380, and then like within the course of a month, it dropped down below $2. That's crazy. Like people could legitimately be kicking themselves for filling their gas tank up a week ago.
Yeah,
Like,
really.
oh man, that was $20 I just wasted.
Yeah. Well, now is it the key thing? Is it going to stay that way though?
Oh yeah, no, at least for the winter probably.
Just for the winter?
Yep.
And then when spring and summer come around again, is it going
Oh,
to?
it's probably gonna go back up.
Yeah. Well, there it is. Less than $2 a gallon in 13 states. You should look up what states they are and let me know. Oh. Well, okay. Again, thanks to Microsoft in our first hour talking about the Windows Server 2003 and the cloud, and I thought that was very illuminating. And of course, you can listen to any of those that show again, or any of our shows on our archives page at computeramerica.com. So that said, let's move to hey, any good movies coming up this weekend? Oh, I think it's The Hobbit is coming up, the final in the trilogy, right?
The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I know we have guests online. We're waiting, but I just want to say real quick: if you haven't seen the Colbert interview with Smaug yet,
yes, I saw. Have you seen it? It was wonderful.
I saw that.
What did you think?
I have never seen CGI like that, like live on the air, or as live as a recorded, as a tape show is. But I mean, that was incredible.
It was. I don't know if he was using. I think he was using scripted. I don't know how much flexibility they had and what the dragon was saying. I don't know if he had to follow specific questions, or if they had some flexibility. But did you hear the end of the interview? All the credits. It took the whole end of the show just for him to read the credits of the people who made that possible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They had at least 50+ animators, working on that just to get it, where it needed to be.
I wonder what the audience saw. I guess they were probably watching monitors. I guess.
They were probably either watching monitors of what it was, but I mean, I'm betting behind the scenes, it was probably one of those things where it's like a tennis ball, so he could keep eye contact with it.
Yeah. Anyway, if you get a chance to watch it, it was a wonderful interview.
Yeah, it was amazing. So yeah, a new Hobbit movie this weekend.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's this next topic is kind of interest. We're going to be talking about something called Zumur. And Zumur evidently helps both buyers and sellers keep more money in their pocket. All right. Okay. The verse, it's called they're claiming it's the first vendor neutral online personal comparison shopping service. Okay. Zumur's advanced filtering capabilities, predictive pricing, and buy now notifications save shoppers time and money in searching for virtually any product available online. Now, joining us is Abhishek Tiwari. Abhishek is the CEO of Zumur. Abhishek, welcome into Computer America. How are you, sir?
Very good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
And glad to have you here. So, is this like I'm going to say the word clearinghouse, not a clearing. What is it? An aggregator, really, of different sites? I mean, what is Zumur? You tell us how this works.
Sure. It's I don't know if you guys recall from back in the day. I think, Craig, you might be old enough for this, but perhaps Ben isn't. But the price grabber and shop filler days.
Sure.
And effectively, what those guys used to do is take all the merchants and all the products that they're presenting and put them all together, let the user kind of figure out what they want. And instead of having to go through the store like you did, in a brick and mortar setting where you actually have to go in the store, what they did was they said, well, people are actually looking for products, so let's just give them all the products at all the stores, and they can go search for the product instead of having to go through the store. So that's sort of the origin of the concept itself in terms of price aggregation. And we're in a similar space with a slightly different play.
Okay, so describe to me what people see when they go to the Zumur website.
Sure. So let me back up one step and let me try to answer the last question you had, which is how is it different? So the price grabbers of the world, Shopzillas are still around. The way they operate, though, is that they are they're supply side aligned. The supply side are the vendors, the merchants, people selling stuff. Right? So these guys get paid by them. It's all paid in network type of stuff. And what does that mean? What that means is that PriceGrabber has a handful of merchants that belong to their network. Google Shopping has a handful of merchants that belong to their network. Shopzilla, and there's probably, I don't know, 20, 30 of these guys. As the e-commerce space is fairly prolific. And what we do that's slightly different is that we have a slightly different business model. So we don't get paid by the merchant, which allows us to be completely consumer aligned. And what we're able to do is pull all of these networks together and expose the entire product base that's out there. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. So, but basically, shoppers can then see everything at one place, is what you're saying, sort of?
Exactly right. Right. So effectively, like Kayak for consumers.
Yeah, Kayak is there's a perfect Kayak. You want to get an airline ticket? Well, you go to Kayak and you see every airline out there that's imaginable, depending upon where you're going. And you'll see all the different airlines. And I know they branched out into hotels and stuff, but basically you can see the schedule of every airline, do a price comparison from going to the same place, see which ones do it, and get the best possible ticket. That's a terrific. So you're taking that same concept and mentality, but bringing that to consumers for other things than flights, is what you're saying.
That's correct. Right. Yeah. So to a larger product base, which is products.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's travel's a little bit more limited. Products, there's just much more of them.
Sure. Okay. So now, when you go to Zumur, do you say, okay, I want to buy, I don't know, let's say I'm looking for the best value on socks, okay, and I'm looking for let's say an Xbox One, for the holiday. I'm like,
sure.
So let's say I want to get an Xbox One, and now I know it's sold, in Walmarts and the traditional places that you would find it and everything. What would Zumur show me? What would I see? What would I see?
So you would see Walmart, but you would also see Target, and you would see J&R Music World if they sell it. I don't know, J&R sells the Xbox One, but so you would see the entire range of merchants that actually carry the product.
Best Buy.
Additionally, I'm sorry.
Best Buy and that type of thing. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's correct. Yeah, Best Buy. GameStop maybe carries a console, I don't know. But you'll see that entire range of vendors, entire range of merchants. But in addition to that, you'll also see Craigslist, and you'll see Hoobly, which is another kind of obscure classified, but sometimes it has really good deals on it. And you'll see, like a range of classifieds, and then you'll also see the eBay auctions or the Ubid auctions, if there are any Xbox Ones on that. Or that are selling in either of those forms. So you'll see that entire range across all of those different channels.
Okay. So in other words, you're not only seeing the big vendors, the traditional ones like the as you say, the Best Buys and the Walmarts and the Targets and wherever, but you'll also see maybe smaller stores like you mentioned, GameStop, or you'll see people have on Amazon, and maybe will we see only new products, or will we see used products, used Xbox Ones? Are we only dealing with new products here?
You'll see both, and we're not quite there yet, and you'll see this. I mean, our technology and our capabilities and features are increasing on a daily basis, or evolving on a daily basis. But you'll be able to select from used and new, although that's not there right now. But you are able to see both used and new products.
Okay, so you get it. Now, when you buy something, if you use Zumur and I buy something, does part of that go to Zumur for pointing it out to me, or is that just myself, the consumer? Am I paying anything, or the fact that people who are listing stuff on Zumur, are they paying something? I mean, how does the financial model work here with Zumur?
Yeah, so the answer to all of those is no. Right? We don't make money off the vendor, we don't make money off the consumer, right? And we don't get paid for the referral.
So how do you make money?
Well, still trying to figure it out. The business model is interesting, right? Part of it is advertising driven. So the expectation is that, well, there's a feature on there which is a personal shopper, right? And as you start to, as you as a consumer start to adapt and to the platform a little bit, the hope is that you start, let's say that I'm looking for a TV and it's, $2,000 or whatever it is. Right? And I want to do a little bit of research. I want to shop around. I want to see what the price of this TV is going to be over time. I don't want to just pull the trigger right now.
Sure.
So, maybe what I do is, I set, I'm looking at 2,000, cheapest price I see is 1,800. Maybe what I'll do is I'll say, okay, well, just let me know, and I can tell the platform to let me know, let's say when this thing drops to $1,500. Right. And so once it does that, what you as a consumer have done is indicate your willingness to pay for a product, right? And that may change over time, right? Which is also additional data that's useful, right? As to kind of how the consumer's desire or willingness to pay for anything changes over time. But that information is there, right? And we don't actually give away the names, but we do provide that information
now,
right? Demographically. We put all that together, and what that does is it gives us two very interesting things. One is that it provides a demand curve for any given product or within any given category, which is something that manufacturers really, really want. And because what that allows for them to do is figure out what price and what quantity of product to produce and what price to sell at. And that's where they make the most profit. Now, the other thing that we're able to do with some of that information is to start to do individualized couponing or personal pricing. What do we mean by that? Well, so if Craig is, let's go back to that TV. If Craig is looking for that TV, typically what do we do today with items that we have in excess inventory? If I'm Best Buy, what I'll do is I'll take that TV, that's let's say $2,000. I'll mark it down to $1,000 if I have an extra 100 units sitting somewhere. And I'll put it out in newspapers, and I'll put it out on radio, and I'll put it out on TV, and people will come in and they'll buy it for $1,000. Right? But what Best Buy doesn't know is that Craig was willing to pay $1,500 for it. Right? And Ben maybe was willing to pay $1,600.
Okay.
Right? Now, when Ben and Craig are looking on Zoomer, they're indicating sort of what their thresholds are, what their perceived threshold is on price. Right? I kind of want it for $1,500, or I kind of want it for $1,600, or whatever it is that I want. Now, what we are then able to do is present personalized couponing to consumers from Best Buy. So Best Buy would then give you a $500 coupon, whereas Ben, who wanted it for $1,600, would get a $400 coupon. Right? So with that, both of you guys would go into the store, and you would get it at exactly the discount that you wanted it at in order to meet your price threshold. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure does. Now, does Zoomer take into account, things like, specialties like, Black Friday or things like that, where the sales like 1 or 2 days or something? Will that be reflected in Zoomer? Are you going to be that quick or that up to date, that current?
Yep, absolutely. Right. So whatever's happening that day, Zoomer will know.
Okay. I mean, because if you were like Kayak, and your flights were like 3 days old, probably it wouldn't be too much value to people. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Kayak stuff expires over time. Like, so the reality is that we won't know. If you're 3 hours late to the show and there's no inventory left of a certain, TV or a MacBook at Best Buy or whatever, that's difficult to portend. But you should know within the same day or within a couple of hours exactly what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course, when you see it, you can always call them and say, "Hey, I see you have a MacBook, that's selling for $1,500. Do you have one there? Okay, hold it for me. I'm going to be over there. Whatever.
Yeah.
And then saves you the drive over.
I don't think they'll hold it for you, but yeah, you could try.
You can give them a credit card over the phone, and they will do it. You know, you could do that. You can give them the credit.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
absolutely.
I mean, with gas under $2 though, it might be worth the trip. Just to give it, you know.
Well, you might be willing to pay full price for the.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so now. Where do you get all this information? Obviously, this can't be a couple of guys on the street corner, you know, looking, you know, let's check out, see what deals we can get at Best Buy. How do you aggregate all this information? Where does it come from?
So actually, that's we spent 2 years in perfecting this technology. It's a retrieval-based technology. The way things work right now. So if you look at a Google Shopping or a Price Grabber, all of their stuff is so they have a network of vendors and merchants that are internal to them, and these folks push their product to them, to the Googles of the world and to Price Grabber and Shopzilla and whatnot. And so these guys have it in data. They have a limited set of stuff, but it's all kind of in-house.
Yeah.
Right. It's indexed stuff, right? To get a little bit more technical. But and so when you ask Google for something, they go into their own house, they pull it out and say, okay, here's what we've got. Now, what we do is we sort of in parallel go out to I think like 50 different places right now. So some of the stuff we have indexed, right? So we go out and pull things, right? So we're able to get Target and a bunch of other major stores, and we'll just kind of pull them in, and we're trying to build that base up. But in parallel to that, we've got the ability to in real time go to, let's say, Shopzilla and to eBay and to Amazon and to Price Grabber and to so on and so forth, shopping.com, whatnot. Probably 40 different sources to pull. So as soon as you put in Xbox One, it's like asking 40 different guys to go and see what they have, go into their house and see what they have in terms of an Xbox One, right? And then to give all of that stuff back to Zumur into kind of that Zumur funnel, and out comes everything that everybody has.
Now, is it
right? So that's sort of how the technology works.
Is it a benefit to the vendors then to to make sure that they're giving Zumur the best possible price? I mean, for example, this is something that I love, and it's relatively new with Walmart. I have an app now for Walmart, and I go there and I buy stuff, and I get the tape from the register and everything, and then I take that home or whatever, and I use my iPhone, the Walmart app, and I take a picture of the barcode of that slip. And then Walmart goes out and checks like 150 or 200 different vendors that are nearby or whatever or wherever, and they make sure that they have and if their price that I paid for it is not the lowest price that I can find anywhere, they will credit back to me the difference of what I overpaid. And to me, that's just absolutely wonderful. So now, how do I know that how do vendors know that they're being competitive and they're offering consumers the lowest price on Zumur?
So a couple ways. They can actually look on Zumur themselves. Right. So what you're talking about is adaptive pricing. Right? So that's to say, okay, let's be at equal pricing. So right now we're talking to some hardware retailers who pretty much what they want to know is, they've given up sort of this price differentiation struggle where Lowe's has a drill for $20 more than the corresponding drill at Home Depot across the street.
Okay.
Because it's become so easy for people to come in and just open up their iPhones or their Androids and kind of just put in Home Depot and look at the drill and see that it's $20 cheaper over there. Just kind of walk across the street. So they don't want to lose the customer. So they're trying to put in systems. And Walmart, because it is the 800-pound gorilla, right? I think the gorilla is actually only 600 pounds. But,
okay.
Because it's the gorilla, what they've done is they've gone out to 100 stores. I don't even know how many stores are in their network, but let's say 100 stores that they consider competitors, right? And then gone and pulled the information from those stores and tried to match it up, right? So they've done the best they can to match up. Now, Yeah, we're actually talking to some hardware folks, and we have a slight advantage over Walmart in that they're building up direct links to stores. We're actually able to pull from the entire online consumer web, right?
Wow.
So, for instance, if you're shopping for a TV at Walmart, I keep using the TV example, probably should switch to something a little bit fresher. But let's say you're shopping for a TV at Walmart. Now, I don't know, have you guys ever heard of East Coast TV?
No, I'm
Not familiar, no.
not familiar with it. No, but I assume it's one of those selling places that sell TVs. You know.
It's an online retail. I mean, it's an online retailer. Relatively small, obviously unknown, but excellent prices on TVs.
All right.
Just phenomenal prices on TVs. Now they're not part of Walmart's network. Right. Yeah. They're not a store that Walmart considers a competitor. However, they do appear on Zumur.
Ah, okay. And
does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's sorry again.
So that's obviously to Zumur's or Zumur users' advantage that they're going to get things like that.
We hope so.
What do you,
we hope so.
What do you call a Zumur user though? Is there a name? A Zumur consumer?
Zumur. There you go.
Zumur. Okay.
That's exactly right. It's a consumer.
A consumer. Okay. All right.
And and Zumur is actually a play on that term. It's a play on consumer.
Okay. Got it.
Because I mean, so we've got a mission statement. Our mission statement is we don't care what you buy, we don't care where you buy, we don't care when you buy, and frankly, we don't care if you buy. What we care about is giving the consumer enough information to make the right buying decision for themselves, even if that decision is not fun.
Oh, okay. That's fair. That's nice. Okay. Sounds good. All right. So this East Coast TV. So you have smaller venues where a consumer may not have heard of, but are definitely out there, and they're going to see that on Zumur.
That's correct.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
You should be able to see. We think you probably should be able to see about 90% of the web in terms of the product web.
Wow.
And getting increasingly better.
Well, that's a huge undertaking, and obviously, I mean, you've been working on this now for.
The web's a big place.
It's a big place. It's a lot of tubes and things. Yeah, exactly.
And it just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah, it does. And I hear they're going digital soon. So. And how?
I guess aggregator sites are going to be, kind of how people are going to find deals. Like it's not just, the 1-2 retail stores, but sites like yours in the future.
Yeah, and that's what you're hoping for, right? People are going to go to Zumur and say, look, I'm looking for the best possible thing. I don't care where it's coming from, but I want to get the best possible deal. And Zumur is going to be right up there on their bookmarks when they're getting ready to buy, because they know when they go to Zumur, they're going to get the best possible deal. That's what you want, right?
That is exactly the hope, right? And it's not just that they don't care where they want to buy. If they care where they want to buy, if they want to pick it up at a retail location, we want to allow them that flexibility, so they can say that, look, I want something within 10 miles of me, and then the results that they get, even from the merchants, will be for merchants that have stores within 10 miles.
Oh, so they can do that? You have that kind of filtering? You can actually do that on Zumur?
Correct. Yeah. Well, so you can do that with classifieds right now.
Yeah.
In a couple months, you'll be able to do that with stores as well.
Who uses the classifieds anymore in this internet age?
Oh,
when was the last time you picked up? What was you picked up a phone? I can't remember the last time I picked up a Yellow Pages. I mean, and they still deliver. They still deliver it, and basically it makes wonderful fuel for the fireplace. But I haven't used it. I mean, now we'll use things like Craigslist, and those are classifieds technically. But at least it's still online.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And by classifieds, I mean anything that's online.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
there's
New York Times classified.
Yeah. There's
it's
Yellow
more offline. It's more in the newspaper.
Yeah, there's Yellow Pages online too, so you can use that, and even the classifieds in newspapers are all listed now online too. So I mean, everything is going.
Yeah, online. For the most part, right?
Yeah.
and we're bringing all of that together. What's interesting, what you'll find in classifieds, is that with the exception of Craigslist, there's not a whole lot of well-known or huge players in the classified game.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's a lot of activity in specialty markets, right? As far as classifieds are concerned. I mean, there's a site called Guns International.
Yeah.
So if you're an avid hunter, I mean, they have hundreds of thousands of guns, right? That, and then I'm not trying to promote gun usage on your show, but they've got guns and just guns, and that's it. Right? And so they've got an audience for that. And there's a bicycle trader, which is
just bicycles,
only for bicycles.
Just bicycles. Yeah, just bicycles. Okay. JustBicycles.com.
Just bicycles. Yeah. Well, I think it's called like
Just
bicycle
bikes.
trader or cycle trader, something of that nature. And they've got a gazillion of these. Right? So they got I think they got one for mountain climbers, and and each of these has hundreds of thousands of products on it. Right? And so kind of pulling all that together is something that we're trying, or we're attempting to do, and we've got a good portion of those already in, and we're trying to get the rest of them in.
So if you had to tell us what sets Zumur apart from the competition, Abhishek, what would you say?
I would say that we are the only consumer advocate in this space. Right? Everybody else makes a buck off the stores, right? And therefore, they are beholden to the stores. And whoever pays you is kind of your boss.
Are you saying that in Kayak,
stores don't pay us?
If I get a ticket in Kayak gets a piece of the action from the airlines? I guess they do. Oh.
They do now. They didn't start off that way.
They become jaded. Oh my goodness! I hope that doesn't happen to you.
That's exactly what happened. So Kayak is an interesting story. They started off as completely consumer aligned. We're going to make money off advertising. What was interesting in their model was that, look, let's say I go to Puerto Rico. Their thought process was that we can get people, we will know where people are going, and therefore we can target markets them and target advertise them a little better. Now, with travel, though, that doesn't. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
Abhishek, we had Kayak on the show way back when. We had the CEO of the company on the phone saying basically what you were saying, and that was many, many, many years ago. So I hope maybe 5-10 years from now he said, oh, yeah, we had Abhishek from Zumur on, and he said the same thing, too.
Exactly, and now he's jaded, too. And now he's
jaded now. Hey, listen, listen, we're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a little break, and then we'll continue on. I got some other questions for you. Stay with us. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network. Ben and I are talking to Abhishek Tiwari. He's the CEO of Zumur. We've got another News Tips Bulletin Review, a brand new one from Marty Winston. I wonder how he's going to say hello this time. We'll be right back here on the Computer America Show. Stay with us. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR star upgrade and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. 1-866-663-MyTV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. 1-866-663-MyTV.
Who let you in? This is Marty Winston with a news tips bulletin review for Computer America. This time, the Cogito Classic. Cogito Classic is a different kind of wearable tech in several ways. Even when nothing's happening, it's a decent wristwatch with luminous hands and a tap-to-backlight digital time and date display. It uses coin cells, so there's nothing to recharge. It doesn't take your pulse or your temperature or want to be a two-way wrist telephone.
Thank God.
But it will notify you when you get a call, a text, a social media message, a calendar alert, or a low battery on your smartphone. It can remote control your handset's music player or camera. If you forget where you left your Cogito watch or your handset, either can get the other to make noise. And you can also be alerted when they get out of range of each other. Bottom line, a Cogito Classic connected watch can let you know the time and whether it's a time when you have to reach for your handset. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It's 33 minutes past the hour, and yeah, so that was our second hour News Tips Bulletin Review from Marty Winston. But right now in this hour, we are talking to Zumur, Mr. Abhishek, and Greg.
Yeah, well, we let me just ask you this. We've talked about what it is, and what your objective is with Zumur. Anything you can tell us about what's coming down the pipeline with this, with Zumur, that we can expect?
Sure. We are currently in beta, and we're collecting feedback from users to strengthen the platform, the experience, just to make sure that it's properly tailored to the user and to the consumer. So right now we're trying to perfect this price visibility and price exposure thought process with regard to just being able to open up as much pricing on the consumer web as possible to consumers. But in addition to that, I think our ultimate goal is to not just be a pricing mechanism for consumers, but a ubiquitous platform for information. Right. So there's absolutely no reason. I mean, the typical process for most folks is that they have to research, figure out. They hear about something, they got to figure out what they want. Look at models, try to understand features, things of that nature. Then they go into pricing. They try to understand what pricing looks like over time, and if they can get deals and whatnot. And then finally, it's if you're heading over to Coupon Cabin and Retail Me Not once you've decided to buy from BestBuy.com or Newegg or something else of that nature. And unfortunately, that's a very fragmented experience. You have to go to CNET and I don't know, Redbook or wherever, depending on what you're looking for, to understand and get to specifics and a better understanding of something that you might want. And then you go to the Google Shoppings of the world, to the Amazons and whatnot, to understand pricing. And then finally, you're at Retail Me Not. And there's absolutely no reason for that, for having to go to 3 or 5 or 10 or 15 different sites. So Zumur's ultimate goal is to pull all that information together, right, and provide it in a seamless fashion to the user. So when you go look for a stereo system, or you go look for reverb speakers, right, you'll see the reviews kind of coming in along with the products, along with the models that kind of fall into that category, and the coupons that are at, let's say, J&R Music World or B&H Photo or wherever else a certain speaker might be selling it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So that convergence of information, that universal visibility to the consumer, that's the hope of Zumur.
Okay. Well, again, if you want to check this out for yourself, go to our show notes page at computeramerica.com. Right there in the middle of the page, you'll see it's show notes. Click on it. You'll see today's show, December the 15th, and we actually have a link to Zoomer right there, and you can check it out for yourself. It is up and running. Yes, it's in beta, but it is running now, and there's some great deals on there, and you might find something still in time for the holidays. And Abhishek, I wish you the best of luck with this, and maybe what happened with the we had was it Kayak on the show a few years ago. Maybe he'll be back and he'll be as big as Kayak.
We hope you have the opportunity to sell out and.
So hopefully we'll be purer than they were.
Yeah, exactly.
Near the end.
Exactly.
Thank you guys.
Hey, Abhishek, listen, happy holidays to you, and thanks so much for being with us here on the Computer America. Happy New Year to you, okay?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, there he goes. Okay, so again, Zoomer, and you can hear and check it out for yourself at computeramerica.com. And, this might be something that you might be interested in. Okay. Well, I find ourselves with some time on our hands, and maybe we should do some computer news. What do you think, Ben?
I mean, I feel like anyone with time on their hands should pursue some sort of hobby.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Well, let's do some news. Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. Ben?
For free.
For free. That's right. You heard it from Ben. Completely free. Everything at the Slimware Utilities website is completely free. Download all of them. Why not? They're completely free. You'll be happy that you have them when you need them. And you'll thank us for it. SlimwareUtilities.com. You want to take the first story for tonight?
Sure, why not? This one from Max and PC, and it involves a leak. A leak from who? A leak from Microsoft. You may remember them. They were just last hour. But not from their server division, but instead from their Xbox division. So, actually, technically from the Windows 10 build. So, the desktop makers. So, yes, again, Max and PC Xbox app pops up in leaked Windows 10 build. This is from Paul Lilly, Max and PC. So, there are several interesting things taking place in the leaked Windows 10 build. The one that Microsoft is apparently super calm about making the rounds. One that we wanted to touch a bit more on is a new Xbox app. This is something that Microsoft is still working on, as the app clearly states when it's fired up, but the Redmond outfit is so excited about it that it wanted to give early users a sneak peek. Oh yeah? So the folks over at The Verge have been playing around with the Xbox app. They say it appears to act as a gateway into the entire Xbox ecosystem. You'll have to access the achievements. You'll have access to achievements, your friends list, activity feeds, and the store. And since it's an extremely early version, there's speculation that the final release might include Smart Glass integration as well. Smart Glass being their whole user interface, using the Kinect and things like that. So, as a sister site of Max and PC, PC Gamer points out, there's a chance that this could be what Microsoft's Phil Spencer was referring to a week ago when he said it was time for us to talk about gaming on Windows. We're crossing our fingers that Spencer was hinting at something more than an Xbox app, as cool as that is. Accessing our Xbox achievements and our Windows rigs, it isn't exactly game-changing. So, a couple things there. First thing, yes, there was a leaked Windows 10 build. You can't say final, but it's something past the beta, something past the technical preview. Was leaked, and it had all the features. It had a lot of features that you wouldn't find in a lot of final products. So apparently, instead of Windows coming out and trying to play media blackout and say, "Hey, don't report that, don't report that. What are you doing? What are you doing?" Apparently, Microsoft is playing it cool and just saying, "Oh yeah, that's just some of what Windows 10 has to offer." And one of the leaks that came out was apparently this Xbox app that we just talked about, and whether or not that, in the end, I mean, it's going to be a way to access the kind of community that you have built up in the Xbox that you didn't have access to unless you were on your Xbox. So that might be kind of cool, especially if you have friends only on Xbox Live. But I mean, it could just be a new way to manage your Xbox, from anywhere, because it is an app. So from your desktop, from your phone, from anywhere, purchasing games, maybe streaming content from the Xbox ecosystem, things like that. You look forward to it, so more Xbox Windows integration.
Can I ask one question, Mike? I'm not sure. In other words, let's say you have Xbox Live and you're using an Xbox 360. When you buy an Xbox One, do you have to get it? Everybody you used to know on Xbox Live, you maintain that, or do you have to start all over again with your Xbox One?
No, it's connected to your Xbox account, which I believe is connected to your Microsoft account. So this would be like you switching from, you still use Gmail and you switch from Chrome to Firefox. Just because you switch whatever you're running it on doesn't mean that whatever's stored on the servers is wiped out.
Okay, got it. All right, good. I just wanted to know. Here's something that I've been wanting for a long time, and evidently it's happening today. Skype will begin translating your speech today. Your speech today. This is very cool. Now, voice over IP communications is entering a new era. This again, according to Paul Lilly from Maximum PC. One that will hopefully help break down language barriers. So that's the plan. Using innovations from Microsoft Research, the first phase of the Skype Translator Preview program is kicking off today with 2 spoken languages, Spanish and English. It will also feature over 40 instant messaging languages for Skype customers who have signed up via the Skype Translator sign-up page and are using Windows 8.1. It also works on preview copies of Windows 10. I wonder, though, will it work on the Mac version of Skype? They're mentioning Windows. Is this going to work on the Mac version of Skype?
Isn't Mac kind of like... Mac's probably going to play second fiddle to this. Like, it's probably going to come out for Windows first.
Well, what it does is translate voice input from someone speaking English or Spanish into text or voice. The technology relies on machine learning, so the more it gets used, the better it will be at translating audio and text. Interesting. It's heuristic. This is just the beginning of a journey that will transform the way we communicate with people around the world, according to a Skype blog. It says, our long-term goal for speech translation is to translate as many languages as possible on as many platforms as possible and deliver as many platforms as possible, that's Mac and Windows, and deliver the best Skype translator experience on each individual platform for our more than 300 million connected users. It's amazing. Now, the translations occur in quote-unquote near real time. This is again according to Microsoft. In addition, there's an on-screen transcript of your call. That's nice. Given the many nuances of various languages and the pace at which communication changes, this is a pretty remarkable feat that Microsoft's attempting to pull off. I mean, there's tons of upside as well, from the business world to use in classrooms. If you want to test it out yourself, Microsoft hopes you do, as it's looking for feedback at this early stage. And then if you want to register the program, they actually have a link on the story that you can go to actually. Just go to, if you go to the Skype website, www.skype.com, and there's a translator later preview button that you can click on and give it a shot. Boy, the
future's now.
Yeah, I think that's very, very cool, especially with virtually no lag. You would think there would be some lag, but evidently not. Obviously, it's not being done.
I wonder if it blocks the audio that you input it, and it only sends them the audio of the translation.
Yeah, I would think so.
I don't know.
Yeah. Very cool.
Like, do you hear their voice, and then you, like, 2 seconds later, you hear the translation? Or, I don't know. Definitely something to foot around with, but,
Yeah.
I mean, this is a good first step.
Yep.
And then, think about a year or two in the future. Year, 2, 3, 4 years in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously 10, 15 languages down the road where it actually works pretty well,
Yeah.
that's going to open up a lot of possibilities.
It'll be almost as good as the Babelfish.
Yeah. Well, as long as you use Skype. And again, you were wondering about the Mac version. Skype is owned by Microsoft, Greg. You might have to wait a bit.
Well, they have Mac versions of everything that they make. I mean,
I know, it's just Microsoft owns Skype, so they're probably going to push it out to Microsoft first, and then, when Macs are going to have to take a little back seat.
Well, I'll wait.
All right. Okay. So, how about this?
Now we talked about quantum dots the other night. Maybe you should do the one on quantum dots because we got a follow-up. Remember we were talking about that for TVs from Engadget?
Yeah, sure. Okay, you can do that one. I'll do this one.
All right.
This one is now there was happening in Sydney, Australia, as I'm sure many of you know. There were there was a hostage situation in the area, and it caused a lot of media coverage. I mean, unfortunately, a couple people died, and just an all-around extremely bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
But from a technology point of view, that we're going to cover right now is Uber. You may know them. They are the ride-sharing platform, kind of competing against taxis.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, during this, they did something that was strange, and then they tried to make amends. So Uber imposes 4 times surge pricing in the wake of the Sydney crisis, and then free rides after.
Mm-hmm.
That was weird. So at first, the firm charged 100 Australian dollars minimum during hostage crisis, and then gave refunds.
Sure.
Weird. So, in the wake of the ongoing crisis in Sydney's central business district, the quasi-taxi service Uber initially imposed its surge pricing to astronomical levels, 4 times the normal fare, with a $100 Australian dollar, or $83 for us Americans, minimum charge for a ride. So before correcting the fare and instituting refunds and free rides in the area, the price increase was first reported by Mashable. So on Monday morning Australian time, the whole thing with the cafe and all that kind of thing. So they actually sent out an email, and an email sent to ours, which I'm getting from Ars Technica. On Sunday evening, Katie Curran, an Uber spokeswoman, said in a statement that the company was concerned about the events in Sydney. She declined to answer direct questions. Uber Sydney will be providing free rides out of the CBD to help Sydney-siders to get home safely. So I guess that was one of the perks of Uber. They were actually kind of advertising free rides if you're in the crisis area. This is, of course, after the whole initial, four times the surcharge, which was kind of weird. So, yeah, that's pretty much all. That's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know what it was that they were implying here in this story. That Uber was capitalizing on the fact that there was a crisis going on in Australia, and we're charging people more because.
I don't think they were trying to capitalize it. I think there was a crisis and someone hit the panic button, and I don't know, maybe wires got crossed and they charged 4 times, but they definitely came back as they should. They refunded everyone who got charged 4 times, and then they were also offering free rides to anyone who wanted to get out of the area.
Somebody panicked, and then whoever came in, the voice of reason came in and fixed it. Okay, all right.
Yep.
All right. Hey, was it last week we were talking about 4K TVs and we were talking about a new technology that was going to make them look even better. We were talking with Sandy Berger. I think we were talking with Sandy Berger about quantum dots.
No, we were talking.
It wasn't Sandy.
We had a gentleman on from. He was Conquering the Electron, the books.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right. Conquering the Electron. Okay, Doctor.
He was the author of that book.
Yeah, exactly. Well, evidently he's correct. LG now says that next year's 4K TVs will be better because of quantum dots. LG is going to have a new set of 4K TVs to slot between its existing ultra-high definition LCDs and super colorful OLED models. These are different because they use quantum dot technology, which LG says will make for a wider color palette and better color saturation than regular LCDs. Sony's already using the technology in its high-end TVs. You know, that's Sony for you. They really do have the best. You pay more for it, but boy, they're right up there in the forefront. And reports have indicated that Samsung will offer LCDs with quantum dots as well. The tech used here will use nanocrystals the size of 2 to 10 nanometers that show a different color base on their side, laid in a film over the usual IPS LCD screens. LG is committed heavily to OLED as a display technology of the future, but even with prices dropping rapidly, it's still out of the range of most buyers. As a result, improving traditional LCDs and trying to convince folks to upgrade to 4K at all is where the key battles will be. The new TVs will be available in 55 and 65-inch versions at first, and you can be sure we'll be taking a closer look at them in Las Vegas next month. This is going to Engadget, and we'll be out there too. So, but you know, again, quantum dots.
It's weird. Like you hear a term for the first time, and then you start hearing it everywhere.
Yeah, you hear it here first, and then you hear it, then you see it. That's what we do.
No, not just Computer America. I mean, in general, it's just like you never hear a phrase, and then all of a sudden you start hearing it everywhere. Like there's a term for that, but it escapes me.
Okay. Well, I'm sure it will come back to you.
Yep, probably. And again, you can't take credit for quantum dots and letting people know about it. I mean, it's it's been around since the early '90s. It's been around. So
yeah, but only now it's becoming affordable.
I think feasible would probably be a better word. Like feasible to the point where you actually put it in technology. Not really affordable, but feasible. Because could you? Quantum dot technology had no place in CRT TVs. There was nowhere to put them. So now we're getting into the level of technology where they would actually be useful.
Okay.
So that's different. All right. So this next story, this one from Time.com, and this is concerning about the story we did last week about the dislike button from Facebook.
Oh yeah.
So this is why a Facebook sympathize button is a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
And they said it would reduce our click empathy to a click. It would reduce our empathy to a click, which most people already do. They're just like, thumbs up. So Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg isn't too keen on adding a dislike button to the service, he said in a Q&A event on Thursday. But Zuckerberg did float the idea of a new button for sad moments when pressing. Like it just doesn't feel right. That's why Facebook engineers recently toyed with a sympathize button, a concept well received by Facebook staff as well as the larger public. But Facebook hasn't implemented sympathize yet. It's still thinking about the right way to go about adding such a feature. Zuckerberg said, leaving users hanging. What's taking so long? It could be because implementing another Facebook button is a terrible idea, particularly to represent an emotion deeper than like. Ever since the like button was launched in 2009, the blue thumbs up has become a symbol recognized by nearly anyone who's used the internet. But the like button mega popularity also resulted in something that wasn't so stellar, like anxiety, which drives your posts aren't always getting as many likes as they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
So, the like button has made it easier to express emotion on Facebook, and like anxiety has turned the platform into a popularity contest and insecurity hotbed. Isn't that true? Like maybe you post something and like I see one of my friends, maybe she's a girl, and she just posts like a picture of herself, and she gets 200 some odd likes. And then I post, a recent life achievement, like, I just graduated, and I get 3 likes. I'm like, why do I bother with this thing?
You need to be cuter.
Yeah, I guess so. That has to be it. So, they're saying that the sympathize button would be something similar. If you don't click sympathize, therefore you don't sympathize, and therefore you hate me. It's, it might cost something along those lines, and which Facebook and Zuckerberg has, kind of said that's not what we're going for. We don't want to reduce all human emotion to which button are you pressing, and in return. So dislike definitely not coming, and sympathize probably not coming. So new buttons on Facebook, don't hold your breath.
Do you use the like button much at all on Facebook?
No. No, it's do I use a like button? I don't use Facebook that much anymore. I really don't like. They still have many active users, and I guess what you would call an active user. Like I log on, a couple times a week, but I don't. Just the entire idea of a news feed just has turned me off. I use it more as like a messaging service.
I like to use it if I'm watching something on Netflix. They don't have like they give you a star rating 1 to 5, and I think it's a lot more flexible. So I can rate a film, and then it actually allows me to explain why I gave it 3 stars or 4 stars. I mean, I only like to interact where I can kind of explain what the interaction's about, rather than just a thumbs up.
I mean, they do have a comment section, so so your comment that no one asked for could be read. But but Facebook's supposed to be a social, like a personal thing, like you and your friends, your group, not just any random person that stumbles upon your review of whatever movie you were watching.
Jonathan wants to know when the last time you updated your Facebook page was. Chat room.
I have no. I think it had to be around 2009.
Well.
So about 5 years.
Okay. Well.
But I don't feel myself to be atypical of the population at large. I feel like people get a Facebook and then they use it for messaging. Maybe they scroll through a little bit of the news feed, but they aren't using it to what I think Facebook has hoped people are
90 seconds.
Well, that about wraps up the show for tonight, and thank you so much again for being with us here on the program. Again, I want to thank Microsoft in the first hour. It was a very enlightening show and with them, and of course Zoomer in hour 2. And again, you can catch it on our archives page at computeramerica.com. Tomorrow night, have you ever wanted to own a flying car? It's been the stuff of science fiction for as long as I can think of it.
60 seconds.
Mahler International is going to be here. The CEO of the company and the president of Freedom Modems is going to be talking about the Mahler Sky Car. These are cars that will really fly. This is not science fiction, folks. And we're going to have the company's CEO here on the program in the first hour. You don't want to miss that. And then in hour 2, we're going to have computer and technology news. Brought to you by Slimware Utilities. And, of course, they are the official optimization software of Computer America. Flying cars. How cool is that?
In case you were wondering what to get that one person you don't know what to get.
Yeah, well, there you go. Flying car. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
10 seconds.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody, thanks for watching us on our Google Hangouts. We see lots of you there. And again, tomorrow night, flying cars. It's I'm looking forward to it. And I guess we'll see you tomorrow night. Say good night.
Good night, everyone.